They fired me at 5:02 p.m. On a Friday during a fire drill. HR couldn't even look me in the eye. But my cat? My cat looked right into the server's soul. My name is Rachel Moore. For 11 years, I've been the invisible backbone of Bridgecrest Dynamics, a digital advertising firm in Denver that somehow managed to grow despite leadership that couldn't tell RAM from a rambling excuse. 11 years of late nights, emergency fixes, and watching executives take credit for my solutions while calling my warnings excessive caution. I should have seen it coming. The new CEO, Todd Lemley, had been eyeing me like I was a legacy system taking up too much space since his first day. He brought in consultants who asked questions about our infrastructure while barely understanding what an API was. They took notes on clipboards and nodded at each other knowingly when I explained our hybrid cloud setup. We need to discuss your position within our new organizational structure, Susan from HR said with practiced detachment as I sat across from them in conference room B. The room still smelled like burnt popcorn from marketing's movie lunch. Todd leaned forward, his custom suit wrinkling slightly. Bridgecrest is moving toward a lean tech model. We're streamlining operations and implementing a more agile approach to IT infrastructure. I almost laughed. I'd been begging for budget to implement proper DevOps practices for years. Your role is being eliminated effective immediately, Susan continued, sliding a manila folder across the table. Your final paycheck and severance details are inside. We'll need your badge and company devices before you leave. The fire alarm chose that moment to start its shrill scream. Perfect timing. Is this a drill? Todd asked, clearly annoyed at the interruption. Scheduled for 5 p.m. every first Friday, I replied automatically. I've only been reminding everyone in the system-wide calendar for 3 years. As we filed out with the rest of the employees, I noticed how Susan avoided my eyes, how Todd checked his watch impatiently. 11 years dismissed in under 5 minutes, right before a weekend. I didn't cry. I didn't rage. I simply smiled, a smile that felt like thunder in clear skies. Walking past my desk for the last time, I watched a new hire struggling to adjust his monitor brightness. 3 months ago, I'd written a detailed guide on basic troubleshooting that was promptly ignored when Todd decided printed materials were outdated. In the parking lot, I loaded my few personal items into my aging SUV, a cat carrier, a litter box, and Captain Whisker's favorite blanket. Captain had been with me since MIT, a one-eyed tabby who'd outlasted 3 boyfriends and now 1 employer. He meowed softly from his carrier, as if to say, their loss. As I drove away, I thought about everything I'd built at Bridgecrest. I'd fended off 3 ransomware attacks when competitors weren't so lucky. When our main server rack caught fire due to the faulty cooling system I'd flagged in 12 separate reports, I recovered our data with minimal loss. When budget for security upgrades was denied, I created a temporary fingerprint authentication system using parts I bought myself. Cloud first is the future. Rachel, you worry too much, Todd had said after joining, dismissing my concerns about having proper fail-safes and succession protocols. He didn't understand that my worrying was what kept everything running. The first day after being fired was oddly liberating. I spent Saturday power washing my patio, finding satisfaction in watching years of grime blast away. The sun felt good on my face. I'd forgotten what daylight looked like after years of server room fluorescence. Sunday, I cleaned my kitchen cabinets and found 4 bottles of soy sauce and 0 gratitude. Captain Whiskers watched from the counter, occasionally batting at dust particles floating in the sunlight. My phone lit up with calls and messages, but I left it untouched. Whatever crisis they were having could wait. 11 years of immediate responses had earned me at least 1 weekend of silence. Monday morning, my curiosity finally got the better of me. I checked my phone to find 37 missed calls and 52 messages. Most were from Todd, growing increasingly desperate. A few were from colleagues, asking if I knew why they couldn't log in. According to social media, every computer at Bridgecrest was displaying the same image. Captain Whiskers lounging on a keyboard, looking imperious with his one good eye. Below him, text read, Access is being managed by the new head of infrastructure. He's currently on a break. Bridgecrest breakdown was trending locally, with employees sharing photos of their screens. Some thought it was a hacker, others a practical joke. No one seemed to connect it to my departure. At 10:07 AE, Todd finally called again. I answered on the fourth ring. Rachel. His voice was tight, controlled panic evident in every syllable. We need to talk about restoring our systems. Whatever issue you have, we can discuss a short-term consulting agreement to... I didn't attack your systems, Todd. I interrupted, emphasizing the your. I simply stopped maintaining them. The silence stretched between us. What does that mean? He finally asked. It means that for 11 years, I've been the only person with full administrative access to your infrastructure. It means that every security protocol I implemented, every authentication system I built, every automated process I created was designed to require regular maintenance by me. That's intentional sabotage, he sputtered. No, it's security best practices. I've documented this in every quarterly report since 2016. Page 4. Paragraph 3. Current authentication protocols require administrative override every 72 hours to prevent potential security breaches. You signed off on those reports, Todd, all of them. How do we fix this? His voice had lost its executive confidence. You don't. You rebuild. You start from scratch with proper documentation, proper succession planning, and proper respect for the people who keep your company running. I hung up, feeling neither vindication nor guilt, just a strange emptiness where dedication used to live. A text came through from Emily in finance, who always helped me print reports when the printer authentication locked up. Whatever you did or didn't do, thank you for the years you helped us all. Some of us noticed. That message gave me pause. Not for the company, they'd made their choice, but for the good people caught in the chaos. Emily, who left chocolates on my desk during all-nighters. Travis from marketing, who always sent a "Thanks, Rachel" after every email reset. Lynn, the receptionist who saved snacks from client meetings for me. They weren't responsible for management's decisions. But they'd survive. The company would rebuild. Hopefully smarter this time. Sometimes systems need to fail catastrophically before anyone acknowledges the cracks. By Tuesday, major news outlets had picked up the story. Digital ad firm crippled after firing only IT administrator. 60-plus monitors displaying a sleeping Captain Whiskers with a new message. He is not mad, just disappointed. And below, 12 cans of salmon pâté, jacuzzi access restored. Todd appeared on a business news segment, voice strained as he explained the temporary technical difficulties without admitting the cause. The interviewer asked pointed questions about IT staffing and security protocols that Todd deflected with corporate non-answers. Wednesday morning, I took Captain Whiskers shopping for a new bed, an executive edition scratching post, and attached a new tag to his collar. CTO, Chief Tactile Overseer. As we lounged on the couch that evening, my phone buzzed with a message from a tech recruiter. Heard what happened at Bridgecrest. Impressed with your infrastructure design. We have clients who would value that kind of foresight. When can we talk? Captain Whiskers purred as I scratched behind his ears. What do you think, CTO, ready for a new adventure? He yawned widely, showing his remaining teeth, before settling back into sleep. I took that as a yes. I'd been invisible until I wasn't there anymore. Now, finally, people were seeing the infrastructure that had always been supporting them, only after it showed its absence. Sometimes the most important things in a company aren't the executives with their vision statements or the salespeople with their client dinners. Sometimes it's the person in the old hoodie with the weird lunchbox who knows how all the pieces fit together. And more importantly, what happens when they don't. 12 cans of salmon pâté, I murmured to Captain Whiskers. They got off easy. My phone continued buzzing with new opportunities as Captain slept on, unconcerned with human problems. After all, he'd made his point. Digital infrastructure, like cats, doesn't respond well to being taken for granted. As I drifted off to sleep that night, I thought about systems, computer systems, corporate systems, life systems, and how they all require the same thing: proper maintenance, proper respect, and occasional reminders of their importance. By Thursday, I'd accepted a new position with a smaller firm that had an entire IT department and a clear succession plan. The CTO there had read about Bridgecrest and said, "We never want to be in that position. We value institutional knowledge here." I brought Captain Whiskers to the interview. They offered him a corner office with a window view. Smart move. Bridgecrest eventually recovered, after hiring 3 separate IT consultants and rebuilding most of their systems from backup tapes I'd stored in a secure location. Another recommendation that had been deemed excessive at the time. Todd was replaced 6 months later. Emily, Travis, and Lynn all found new positions within weeks. I made sure their references were stellar. Good people shouldn't suffer for bad leadership. As for me and Captain Whiskers, we moved on. But occasionally, when I'm setting up security protocols for my new employer, I add a small Easter egg, a single line of code that displays a sleeping cat if maintenance protocols aren't followed. Just a friendly reminder that behind every functional system is someone who cares enough to keep it running. And what happens when that someone is no longer there? They thought I was just the IT girl with the old hoodie and the weird lunchbox. They didn't realize I also controlled the digital skeleton holding their entire company together. Now they know. And so does everyone else who hears this story. Never underestimate the person who understands how everything works, and never, ever fire them during a fire drill on a Friday afternoon. Captain Whiskers approves this message.